Have you ever woken up in a cold sweat thinking, why the hell did I dream about my ex again? You're not alone. It's a shared experience that leaves us puzzled, sometimes even shaken. Maybe it happened years ago, maybe you're completely over it, but there they are, smack in the middle of your dream, smiling as if nothing ever happened. Unsettling? A bit. Meaningless? Not at all. Because dreaming about an ex isn't just nostalgia. It's your subconscious whispering secrets, the kind most people never stop to decode. Now, before you roll your eyes and say it's just a dream, think about this. Dreams are emotional echoes. They carry the residue of memories, unresolved tension, and sometimes even unfinished lessons. So when your ex shows up out of nowhere while you're asleep, your brain isn't just randomly flicking through the archives, it's highlighting something real, something unprocessed. But what exactly? Here's where it gets weird, in the most fascinating way. See, dreams don't speak in straight lines. They use metaphors, symbols, shadows. That ex you saw last night might not even represent them. It could represent a version of you, the person you were in that relationship, or the person you tried to become. Maybe that dream is dragging out who you were becoming, or warning you not to go back to that emotional place. But let's go even deeper. What if dreaming about your ex isn't about them, or you, but about what was missing in that relationship? Love, trust, validation, freedom. Your subconscious remembers. It repeats these patterns because it's trying to work them out. Your waking self might be saying, I've moved on, but your dreaming self? Not quite. It's got questions, and the way your brain frames those questions is by serving up a vividly strange dream where your ex is laughing, crying, chasing you, or worse, completely ignoring you. Then there's the emotional blueprint theory, something hardly anyone talks about. When you go through an intense emotional experience, especially a romantic one, your brain creates a neural map of that bond. Even after a breakup, that emotional imprint stays in your psyche. Dreams use these maps like wallpaper. Your ex might just be a marker in your dream because that particular emotional shape hasn't been filled in real life yet. You could be craving closeness, passion, or even conflict, and your mind just grabs the last person it remembers from that emotional landscape. But here's the real twist. Sometimes your dream isn't about love at all. It's about power, or losing it. If you ever felt powerless in that relationship, like your voice didn't matter, like you were constantly second-guessing yourself, your subconscious might bring your ex back in a dream so you can reclaim that lost authority. Pay close attention to what happens in the dream. Are you confronting them, running away, forgiving them? Each version is like a scene in your emotional film, written by a director you don't consciously know. And here's something else that barely ever gets mentioned. Your brain might be using your ex to explore your shadow self, those parts of you that you usually suppress. Bitterness, jealousy, fear, desire. Dreams are where your shadow speaks freely. That ex might be awakening a side of you that still needs to be seen, even if it's messy or uncomfortable. And that's okay. Your dreams aren't there to judge you. They're there to show you something you've probably ignored while awake. But maybe the most unsettling bit? Sometimes dreaming about your ex has nothing to do with the past, and everything to do with the present. Your current relationship might be stirring echoes of the past, and your brain is picking up on it. Maybe it's trying to warn you, maybe it's showing you that history is repeating itself. But it won't scream. Dreams never scream, they whisper. And it's up to you to tune in and listen. Now here's where it gets even more personal. If you dream about an ex you don't even think about anymore, it can hit differently. You start asking yourself, do I still have feelings for them? Not necessarily. It could simply mean that something in your current life has triggered an old emotion, like fear of rejection or a need for approval, and your mind reached back to the last time you felt that intensely. And that person? They're just part of that old emotional file. So before you dismiss your dream as a random glitch or meaningless fluke, take a moment to sit with it. Ask yourself, how did I feel in the dream? Not just what happened, but the emotional texture of it. That's where the real message lives. That's where your subconscious leaves the breadcrumbs. And following those breadcrumbs might just lead you to understand parts of yourself your waking mind refuses to face. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever had a dream about your ex that left you confused or even shaken? Tell us in the comments. What happened? How did you feel? Let's unravel the mystery together. Your dream might be saying more than you think. Sometimes the dreams aren't even dramatic. They're quiet, mundane, you and your ex just walking or chatting like nothing ever happened. And strangely, those are the ones that linger the longest. They're unsettling because they feel real. And that's when people start to panic, thinking maybe they've still got feelings, or that it's some kind of sign from the universe. But here's the truth. Not all dreams are about desire. Sometimes they're about integration. Your subconscious might simply be trying to reintegrate an old chapter of your life, not because it wants it back, but because it needs closure. That's the part no one talks about. Closure doesn't always happen in one go. You don't erase someone from your mind with a breakup text or a blocked number. Some parts of that emotional bond live on quietly, just beneath the surface, and dreams are where they come to breathe. That's why dreaming about your ex doesn't always mean you want them back. Sometimes it just means a part of you is finally ready to let them go completely. Not with anger, not with tears, but with neutrality, and that honestly is a kind of freedom no one teaches us how to recognize. Let's not forget the timing of these dreams. Pay attention to when they happen. Are you stressed? Starting something new? Feeling lonely? Because, dreaming about an ex can be your subconscious reaching for the last emotionally intense memory it can find to make sense of how you're feeling right now. Transitions tend to stir up the past. Your mind, craving familiarity, pulls out the most emotionally charged symbol it has stored. And for many people, that symbol is an ex. And if your dream turns sexual or intimate, don't stress. It doesn't necessarily mean you miss them. It might mean you're longing for intimacy or acceptance. Your subconscious borrows a familiar face because it knows it'll get your attention. Think of it less like a love letter and more like an emotional flare gun. It's not telling you to go back, it's telling you to look closer. What are you craving that's missing right now? Here's another layer that rarely gets mentioned. Sometimes you dream about your ex because you're healing faster than you think. Yep, you heard that right. As your emotional body recalibrates, it can stir up fragments from the past, almost like an emotional detox. It's not regression, it's release. Your dream might be replaying a painful memory not to torment you, but to let it pass through one final time, like smoke leaving a room. What feels like a setback might actually be your final step forward. And now comes the eerie part. Some people say they dream of their ex right before that person contacts them in real life. Creepy coincidence? Maybe. But from a psychological point of view, we're more in tune than we realize. Our brains are wired to pick up on subtle signals, emotional frequencies, and shifts in our internal landscape. If you suddenly dream of your ex after years of silence, and they message you the next day, don't brush it off. That dream might have been your intuition knocking before your logic caught up. But let's be brutally honest. Sometimes you dream about your ex because a part of you hasn't moved on. And that's okay. Healing isn't linear, and closure doesn't always come wrapped in clarity. Your mind might be holding on to what could have been, to the version of the relationship that lived in your hopes more than in reality. And your dreams? They explore that alternate timeline, not to torture you, but to remind you it existed. And letting go means releasing both the pain and the fantasy. Dreams can be messy. They burst open what you've kept carefully tucked away, but they're also profound. They're honest. They'll show you things you're not ready to admit when the lights are on. That's their power, and their purpose. Whether your ex shows up with open arms or stormy eyes, your subconscious is inviting you to a conversation. One where the language isn't words, but emotion. One where the message isn't always clear, but it's always personal. So next time you wake up from one of those dreams, heart pounding, mind spinning, don't rush to erase it. Sit with it, feel it, and ask yourself what part of you wrote that dream and why. Because the answers aren't out there, they're inside. And your dreams? They're just the doorway in. If this video helped you make sense of something you've been carrying for a while, give it a like so more people can find it too. And if you're ready to dive even deeper into the world of dreams, hit that subscribe button You won't want to miss what's coming next.